Tonight, we turn our focus to the Treasury and the man now steering Kenya's economic ship, John Mbadi. Once a firebrand in opposition benches across the aisle to become Cabinet Secretary for Finance. His appointment was hailed as a move to bring expertise into government. As KTN's Vera Mora reports, Mbadi presides over record budgets and rising taxes, sparking questions about whether the former critic has become the government's most loyal defender. Take a look.
To make either decision.
Many may forget this opposition stalwart John Mbadi, once the fiercest critic of government excesses, a man who stood on the floor of parliament to denounce runaway borrowing and punitive taxation. Now, Mbadi is no longer the watchdog. He is the cabinet secretary for the National Treasury, an expert donated to the Kenya Kwanza government coalition in the spirit of broad-based administration. Mbadi, once hailed as a stalwart of policy and service delivery, has strayed from his previous principles and marched straight into the Kenya Kwanza chain of thought. Today, the borrowed expert John Mbadi seems firmly aligned with the government of the day, standing squarely in the president's corner as he presides over the highest tax burden in Kenya's history. For 2 consecutive years since taking up the Treasury docket in the wake of Gen Z-led protests, Mbadi has presided over ballooning budgets from 4 trillion Kenyan shillings in the financial year 2024-2025 to his first budget at 4.2 trillion Kenyan shillings in the financial year 2025-2026, and now a record 4.8 trillion Kenyan shillings in the financial year 2026-2027. Taxes have risen sharply, fuel levies, VAT exemptions, all under the watch of the man who once warned against squeezing Kenyans dry.
That you want to go the other side.
Mbadi finds himself under the microscope. When he stood over the Treasury docket in 2024, he promised a new era of fiscal discipline, improved revenue collection, and relief for ordinary Kenyans struggling under the weight of high living costs.
To present the economic context.
His first budget, the 2025-2026 estimates, was framed as a balancing act: stimulate growth while taming debt, expand social spending while keeping inflation in check. But by mid-2026, debt servicing consumed over 1.3 trillion Kenyan shillings, domestic borrowing surged, crowding out private sector credit and raising interest rates. Fertilizer subsidies lowered farm input cost and boosting maize production, but fuel, transport prices kept household budgets under strain. Food inflation, coupled with new levies, meant that many Kenyans saw little relief despite government interventions. His reputation as an expert is now being tested against the reality of Kenya's fiscal constraints. John Mbadi, the borrowed expert, has delivered numbers but not yet relief. And as Kenya heads into another budget cycle, the question lingers: will the expert John Mbadi's Treasury find a way to ease the burden of citizens? Or will promises continue to collide with the hard limits of debt and deficit? Vera Mora, KTN.